All right, y'all, it has been a month. And when I tell you it's been a month, I'm not just talking about since an episode. I'm talking about it has been a month. So we had the Condor approach live. We're getting ready to go to Tonga. Financially has been an absolute wondrous shit show, which is amazing before you're traveling internationally. And so we've been in a lot of hustle mode. I don't let anyone scare me away that hustle mode is all a bad thing. It's active Puma energy. And when it's used with intention, it's a powerful, amazing tool. Anyway, so today's episode is taken from the last Condor approach. I'm going to actually walk you through a states assessment, what a states is when we talk about that for coaching. And then you're going to get to hear one from one of our favorite people who is actually the manager of the Condor coach community, or the Condor community at large, Dice. And so if you haven't met Dice, he has an incredible story. We'll get his story as well on here. I know that Providencia did an interview with him, so I'll check that out, see if we can maybe even get that up for next week so you can get to know Dice a little bit more. Because if you enter into the Condor approach, one of our live events, whatever, you're going to meet Dice. So I'm excited for today's episode. You get to really get a feel for what it's like inside the live event. So check it out. Let us know what you think. I'm super pumped for today's episode. And as always, this is brought to you by Ka Empathogenics. Ka is my favorite microdosing master teacher plant right now. It is totally legal no matter where you live. It's known as nature's SSRI. So you're getting a lot of beautiful presence without any of the adverse side effects. Please make sure you read about the product and you don't just take anything there are contraindications you got to know about. So please take self-sovereignty and radical self-responsibility to do your research. And with no further ado, today's episode. See you on the other side.
Whether you're a life coach, therapist, biohacker, invested in wellness, or in the healthcare profession, if you have an intention to work in psychedelic spaces, you're in the right place then. If you're called, get involved. But first, get informed. Let's talk the 4 N's: intake, intention, in-space integration. Leading to deeper transformations. Psychedelic Coach Podcast, Todd Kole. Walk you through the process, it's all possible. Leave space for the follow through. Most importantly, integration is not optional.
So we're going to talk about states and strategies. When we get into coaching, you have to learn how to coach yourself first. Yes? Yes. And even if you would have said no, the answer is yes. So that's why you're here then, is because you didn't know you can't bypass yourself and get good results from those around you. So part of coaching yourself first is you have to get clear on where you are, where you want to go. So part of what we say is there are no limited people, only limited states and limiting strategies. Where you were born and timing. The reason Steve Jobs was so successful was not only because he had a really brilliant brain. He had timing, luck, and being in the right place at the right time. We're here getting ourselves ready for the right time. Because when you have self-awareness, you know where you can plug in. You know what strategies you use are really beneficial to a certain environment. You know when it's an opportunity for you. And that's our goal here, is we're just helping you not only identify the strategies you use that are functional, but the ones that aren't. The ones that keep you spinning and ending up in the same place, no matter how many journeys you do, or how many ketamine sessions you do, or whatever, right? Thank you, ma'am. So when you're feeling stuck, and the wheels keep spinning, but you aren't going anywhere, it's time for an SOS. That's what we call it. State or strategy. For us, it's really and, but SAS just didn't really work, so just deal with it. State, a condition or way of being that can be beneficial or detrimental. A strategy is a plan or method that serves to create or maintain a state. So the things you do or don't do maintains the state you're in. So if you're stuck, it's probably the strategies you're using that's keeping you stuck, or the strategies you're not using. So the 3 steps of an SOS, we start with the 3 Ps, then we go to states, and that equals the strategies. So I like to say before we go on a long adventure, the first thing you want to do is stop and take a pee-pee before you go. So when you first notice that moment of activation or that reactivity, First thing is pause and pull back. If you only learn that skill, you will forever change the trajectory of your life. You are no longer living reactively. You can react, but if you pause and pull back, you can respond after that versus live in the reaction. Every reaction you have is you being manipulated by the past, by the person in front of you, by another situation or circumstance. So you are still consciously or not giving your power away to something else. So when we go to understand the states and strategies, it's so that, for me, freedom is your freedom to respond to anything that happens in a way that is your truest self, who you want to be, who you're growing to be, who you desire to be. That's freedom. We cannot control everybody else. You can only control your response, but first you have to understand what causes you to react, some level of why, to start to get the strategies to support the new way. So pause, pull back, and take a physical scan. That's the 3 Ps. That's also in your book. Pause and pull back. Now I'm going to do a physical scan. You'll start to find, how many of you notice when you start to get activated, you get hot? You got to start taking the vests off, the layers off, right? That's the pause, pull back, but that's only one of your sensations. Every sensation you have is a signal of something. And you can start to track it like the key of a map. You start to go, oh man, when I first start getting itchy right here, it's because I'm not speaking my truth. Have you ever seen someone turn red, like here on their chest and their throat when they get put on the spot? That's their nervous system coming online. They usually can't say anything. So they're getting overwhelmed with emotion and sensation. So it's fight, flight, potentially freeze. But their body, whatever it is for them, it's starting to bubble up a little bit. So if I observe that in a family member or friend, I'll be like, you know what, pause. Let's take a deep breath. Let's just breathe for a second. Their body is reaching a threshold. And I know that once we cross that threshold, you can't hear me or I can't hear you. So I want to get to the edge of the threshold, but I don't want to go over it. Once we go over, it's much harder to get back to where we can communicate, right? So my goal is always just to get right to when I start to notice I'm getting to the point where my patience or my kindness, if I go past that threshold, that's not there, I'm going to pause and pull back, and I usually will step back. Have you ever felt between another person, you can feel the density of the energy? It's just a tone. They don't even have to get loud, but you can feel it, and you're just like, what? Right? That whole, like, you puff up bigger and actually go towards them. You're compressing the energy to that other person and actually fueling the freak out. Because now the threat, you're putting 2 now wounded animals into a close proximity. That's exactly what's going to happen. That's why I say pause and pull back. Now, I'm not turning my back. I'm not fleeing. That's me actually grounding even more. But I'm taking a step back because I need that space for me to stay clear. Because this might be surprising for you, but I can get a little intense. I know. Everyone's like, but you're just like Buddha. I'm like, I know. It's me. And so old ways, teenage ways, fights, right? I got kicked out of 3 different high schools, but I wouldn't be the one to engage, but my energy was big. So I wouldn't say anything, but it was like, here's your line. Go ahead. Because the second it would snap, it's on, right? And so I've always had the pull back. Well, I guess I was also positioning how I'd hit him, but I guess that's a different story. Anyway, I have new skills. That's all I'm saying. So that pause and pull back, that's opportunity. That's where you can go, who do I believe myself to be in truth? And what is the cost if I don't step back? If I step in, there is a different outcome. And that's what I'm not interested in anymore. I want to take that bird's eye view, that condor's eye view, to pause, pull back, and look at the whole picture for a second. I don't want to put or project my anger on Ta. He does not deserve, nor has he done anything to warrant me to send my energy into his core and actually penetrate his energy. And he told me at the beginning, he said, look, your anger is welcome. Don't point it at me. It's welcome here. We can go break plates, do whatever you want. But if you point it at me, it makes me want to leave. Or, that was his response, is that makes me want to leave. And so we had to renegotiate, then how can we welcome anger so that it's not me being shamed for having anger, because it was valid anger for me of how I feel. But how can we renegotiate the terms of the anger being here? Because if it's not safe for him, but I hold my anger in, then it's not safe for me. So we had to renegotiate that ahead of time. So what do? If I start to get activated, for us, we keep taking steps back until we can both tolerate the energy. That's our thing. So we've had conversations this far because this is as close as we could be and stay in who we believe ourselves to be and who we want to be. And we would just breathe, all of that. And there's times we've taken more aggressive steps back. But that was something we had to do ahead of time. You can't figure these out in the moment or tell somebody, we should stop and take a pee-pee. They're like, I will kill you. So you have to make these agreements ahead of time, or else they're going to say, don't tar or call me, or don't coach me. It's, we know who we want to be and who we are in truth. So are our actions in alignment with who we want to be or not? And if they're not, that's okay. Can we accept that we are still imperfect and practicing, right? So stop and take a PPP physical scan. You'll start to feel sensations in your body that will indicate you're getting activated if you're not already aware of them. I can feel it here before it starts to come up to here. I just start to get that initial like pit in my stomach feeling. So now I don't go into full freak out because I sense the first sign. So I'm like, ooh, hold on. Let me stop the train for a second here. But it's not just like that with anger, y'all. First, we tend to learn emotions that we don't want to feel or to understand the signals of them, but you're also missing all of the ones that you actually are on a track of being content, of being satisfied, of having enjoyment. So you have to pay attention to all sensations, not just looking for what's wrong, but saying, what's different? Oh, wow, my knee doesn't hurt today. Interesting. I finally quit my job because I hadn't been taking that step. Yes? The more you start to track, it's not merely happenstance. It's information. Sometimes it's literally you just stubbed your toe and that's why it hurts. But even if I'm having a moment like that, I pause, pull back. What did I just think? Because you have 60,000 thoughts going through your mind pretty much just throughout the day. It's those fleeting thoughts, what we want to be aware of. The ones you're aware of are probably not really the problem. It's the ones you're not aware of. So if I just stub my toe, I'm going to pause, pull back, take a physical scan. What did I just think about? At first, you catch it after the fact. Might be a year ago. Then you start to catch things at the end of it. Then you start to catch it midway. Then you start to catch it at the beginning. Then you start to catch it at the very, very start of something. That's when everything changes. That's when you no longer engage in these things. Aside from someone just getting in my face, I'm actually really hard to upset in that way. You have to really come at me where that's the only thing that I can go to. But trust I will. Because I'm not Buddha, I'm not scared to still backslap somebody. Backhand or slap, backslap, or I guess backslap. Anyway. So states, because I said states or strategy. Your state, if you go on your piece of paper or in your book, and it's in the book as well, S-T-A-T-E. S-T-A-T-E equals S. This is the situation. This is your thought about the situation. I don't have ChatGPT on whiteboard, so we're gonna be working it out, you know what I mean? This is your action. This is your actions as a result of that thought about your situation. T, where are you in the triangle? Todd's going to talk more about this soon. Are you the victim? Are you the villain? Or are you the victor? Can we see ish? So here's where it starts to get fun. Then E is emotion. This is the only, doing it this way, which we used to teach states assessment anyway. Then when I went and learned from Brooke Castillo in the life coach school, they have something else they call the model. And I was like, that's what ours is, but they got the little letter thing. And it's all simple. Oh shit, state, S-T-A-T-E equals S. What's your situation? What is one thought about the situation? What are your actions as a result of that thought? Are you the victim, the villain, or the victor? Usually try on all three, because we are actually simultaneously usually riding the triangle, victim, villain, victor. We call this the OTT triangle. You'll learn more about this later. And the overarching or dominant emotion. I like to say dominant emotion, or whatever that word is. Here's what you want to focus on when you're first learning this. There's the situation. This is facts only, y'all, no feelings. Because there's a place for your feeling down in the emotion line, and there's a place for your thought here. Facts only. So this is what it would look like. I'm sitting in my house, and I go, man, Ta left. Ta always leaves me. Meanwhile, Ta's truth is he went to go get us food. My truth is that he left me. The reality is he just isn't home. Make sense? If I look around the room, Ta and I would both agree he's not at home, right? So my thought is Ta left me, and Ta's not here. My action might be, well, since I think Ta left me, I'm not going to do the dishes. I'm not taking the dogs out. He can do that when he gets home. But that's because of my thought that he left me. If I thought Ta went to go get me food because he loves me, my actions are going to be different, right? So it's one dominant thought. Just work with one at a time, because this will ripple through your life in ways you can't imagine. Just stick with one thought, one singular, one situation, one thought. Actions is multiple, as many as you can think of, and I'm going to demonstrate it so that you get a little bit more. Duh. So actions are what you do or don't do as a result of your thoughts about the situation. So if my thought is, Ta left me, then I'm not going to clean the kitchen. I'm not going to take the dogs. I'm not going to send him a cute text message. I'm not going to send him reels that I think he'll think are funny. But if my thought was, Ta loves me so much, he's so considerate, my actions would be, I'm going to send him a text and just tell him how amazing he is. I'm going to clean the dishes because he's going to come home with food, right? So my thought about this situation is what causes me to do or not do things. One sec.
So the action is not only action, it's action or inaction.
Exactly. What you do or you don't do is an action. You know how people say that not making the decision is a decision? Because it's going to go somewhere. Things have deadlines. So if you don't make a decision, then that is a decision. Then we have victim, villain, or victor. This is just for you to assess, where are you? How are you influencing this state? Then we have one emotion, and I say dominant emotion, because we always have a matrix of emotions. So just choose the one that, if you ask, well, what's the dominant one right now? If my thought is Ta left me, my dominant emotion might be anger, because I'm mad that he just left me, he didn't say anything, right? Now I'm going to give you some actual examples, but this action, you want to put as many of these as humanly possible of what you do or you don't do. So I'll say, okay, when I have the thought that Ta's not home, or when I have the thought Ta left me and he's not home, and I do or don't do all of these things, those become your strategies not every time, but those are strategies that support this emotion. These are strategies that support this thought. Make sense? Now we're going to do some demonstrations. This is I'm doing like the very top line explanation of it. Every Thursday, for all of you, every Thursday we do states practice calls. That's where you can come for yourself and get coaching. You could come practice doing it with others. It's an amazing, whether you're a coach in your life or at your job or you've got kids, you're always coaching people, but your awareness of how you hold space and coach people can change your life and theirs. Because it's no longer about you, actually. Once you've done your work, you recognize someone's looping in a thought. It's none of your business. Like, you don't have to work that hard. Most of you are working way too hard to try to help people. So, I mean, I appreciate the dedication, but it's just super OD. S-T. So I like to leave lots of space for this little A, because again, I like to put as much there as possible. T, E equals S. Where's Dice? Hi, Dice. Come here, friend. You can come cuddle on this corner here. I mean, I guess it's not really cuddle it. Well, you'll cuddle the plant. You and the plant are going to be pals. No. It'll be easier for them if you just sit right there. We're going to do story time with Kole and Dice. We need a microphone for Dice. So I'm going to demonstrate. What am I holding? Oh, okay, this is good. I want to be holding these things. Perfect. So I'm going to show you when I'm coaching someone else, but it's a good demonstration of how this process really works. Honestly, those Thursday calls, if you just come to those, it will forever change your life. Because that awareness of what's really messing with you, because it's not usually what you think it is. We like to blame it on like different things than it really is. So, Dice, you just took a new position and you just got to restructure an entire digital portal, right?
Yeah.
And you were coming to your first live event with all said things and trying to get them all done before your flight.
Correct.
Tell me about that. What has that been like for you, Dice? Just talk through it.
Well, it's been really amazing, and I love the opportunity, and I really wholeheartedly am like stoked. And at the same time, there's been a lot of emotions around it. There's been a level of overwhelm around just all the Mighty Network situation, and then also a feeling of not wanting to do the wrong thing and let people down. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of perfectionism that just keeps clicking in, and it's like I need to know everything and have it done perfectly immediately. Yeah, and there's just been a lot of feelings that I've been working with and through, and I was afraid that people might see me differently or that I might show up differently. I'm already getting emotional talking about it. But
perfect.
yeah,
be with
There's been a lot. And today I was just kind of balancing the there's some stress, there's the ease, there's the excitement, and yeah, I've been a little funky. It feels like this surreal floating kind of feeling that I have. Yeah, that's some of the challenges. However, I really keep coming back to like how connected I am with the Condor approach and everybody here and my own journey. And I'm really, like, that part really excites me and gets me very, like it's very expansive. I think it's when it comes to the nuts and bolts and the day-to-day and just the, there's a bit of, like, a time constraint of like, I have to get here and I want things to be, like, done right, and QR codes are sending me over the edge, and there's like a whole matrix of
every emotion.
Yep.
Yeah. And so what I just had with Dice, especially when you're holding space for someone else, just have them say everything that comes up in that moment. I'm not trying to control it, change it, or direct it. So I can just say, what else? What else? That's my favorite cue for myself, or if I'm holding space for a friend, is what else? What else? You know that song, I Got 5 on It? Right? So I literally say, and I'm gonna actually teach it, but there's a method to just give someone 5 minutes and set a timer. Say as much as possible, say it all, without filtering or anything, and guess what? I'm not gonna listen to any of it. Because I see it like cleaning the lines, clearing the lines. You know when a tub has been turned off for a long time, you first turn it on and it's kind of like questionable. You're like, oh, drain the tub, just kidding, we need to flush that for a minute. So that's what I see energetically we do. We've been holding things back, especially if we have gratitude. Sometimes we deny the hard parts because we're like, yeah, but I need to be grateful. No, you need to be honest with yourself. You get into that level of honesty and where all of it's welcome, then you can operate from truth. Because if there's some parts you don't like and you're denying that too, that becomes resentment. Right? So I clear the lines, 5 minutes. And especially if I'm holding space for someone else, and I'll teach you how to set up this context because it's good for friendships, for whatever. You say, cool, let's get 5 on it, set the timer, and let them just go. No filtering, no anything. Speak the way you need to speak it right now. Right? then we can get to the end of that little bit of a process. And then I can go, so what would you like to focus on, Dice? What would be the most supportive thing for this next little bit of time that you would like to be with or process or acknowledge, or what would you like?
Just having expressed that and being up here is really helping me out. So I think maybe talking through some of those, through some of these feelings, maybe supportive. I think what I'm really wanting or longing for is like a sense of ease, and I'm getting like, I don't know, I'm popping in and out of ease into, some levels of stress.
So I'm going to put the situation is now working for the Condor approach. So when you are not in a state of ease, or you're looking for more ease, what is the thought that's making you not feel at ease? What's the dominant thought?
Like there's something I have to do that I haven't done, and I'm already behind.
So are you good if I say I'm already behind? I got big bottom D's happening. I don't understand what's happening. I'm already. I'm down for a big bottom, you know what I mean? So when you have the thought, Dice, I'm already behind, and you're working for the Condor approach, what do? In fact, pause before I go into actions. When you have the thought, I'm already behind, how do you feel?
Great, because that's pretty much where I was going to go.
Yeah.
I start feeling agitated. I start feeling like I can't focus on one thing. Like things are pulling me in a direction. And I'm also, there's a fear. There's a sense of fear that like, maybe there's an expectation or something I haven't met. The more I think about it and feel into it, there's some sort of fear that I'm not at the right place or doing the right thing.
So what would your dominant feeling be of the things you just talked about as far as, because you said agitated, can't focus, fear. What feels most dominant right now?
I think agitated. And I find myself like creating stories and like judging myself.
So when you have the thought I'm already behind and you get agitated, you start creating stories? Walk me through it. What does that look like, sound like when Dice is creating stories? If I walked into your house, you're in your kitchen and Dice is creating stories because he's agitated, because he is thinking I'm already behind? What does it look like when you're creating stories?
I'm like walking around a lot or pacing. There's like a frantic energy. I might be like verbalizing all of it at my wife, not really having a conversation, just like dumping all my shit. And almost like not allowing myself grace and not allowing myself to just be where I am. It's almost like, like that. You got to be somewhere else. So I move around.
When you're not giving yourself grace, what are you doing? What does that mean? Tell me what grace would mean to you if you're not giving yourself grace.
I'm not allowing myself space or time. I am like wanting to move on to the next thing, or wanting to get away from certain things.
And when you're doing these things, what aren't you doing?
I'm not actually focused on whatever I do need to get done, which is really not that big of a deal. It will not take me that long. I am not connecting with just myself and with people. I'm checking out. I'm like, there's a lot of thoughts. So I'm not present with people. And yeah, and then I'm not doing the practices that would bring me back to center. Like when I get into those thoughts and feelings, I like discount the things that would actually bring me back to myself.
Which would be like what? What are examples of that?
Just breathing, taking space, meditating, reading, consulting the I Ching, playing music, writing, but really just taking space. Like space that's not filled with thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I think when we sent your hiring paperwork, we should have been, "You're welcome and we're sorry in advance."
It's not. See, the thing is, it's not. It's all my creation. That when you sent me the hiring paperwork, it felt incredible. It felt incredible and super coherent, and there's so much like resonance and like willingness for myself to be a part of it for whatever it was. So like I know what I signed up for, and I think a part of what's going on too is like, yes, we're coming to the live event. Yes, working for the Condor approach, and then it's just a confluence of a lot of things that doesn't give me the space to really focus. I think it's just a general life. Like I'm not able to connect because there's things that are not even part of the Condor approach, more like with my relationships with people in my living situation, that they're kind of eating up my bandwidth. So a lot of and another element to this is I don't give myself credit, or I don't know how to receive, or I don't know how to receive. So I tend to punish myself, and I think that's what happens. Like whatever I do is not good enough. Mm-hmm. Even if it's the right thing, I'm just gonna move on to the next situation where whatever I'm doing is not good enough. So that's what I feel like.
And so when you're being hard on yourself, what does that look like?
A lot of inaction. I feel like a dense rock sometimes, and there's a lot of what feels like going in circles. So I think it's me walking around like in a frustrated energy. I'm just like, it's not like, I didn't do this thing. It doesn't matter what I did do. I'm focusing on the shit that's like not working. And I mean, the whole universe is full of them, so I could really just toggle to many, many things.
So where are you in the triangle? When, like, in this whole situation, walk me through, kind of try on each outfit and just walk me through your perspective.
Well, I would say I'm a victim, because a lot of the times I don't have enough. I'm not doing enough. If like these things in my life had been different, I might show up another way. So there's a lot of that kind of woe is me, which I'm aware of. So I try not to stay there. But there's a lot of that. And then I'm also the villain. I'm punishing myself. I'm putting myself down, and I get in a reactive state. So then I'm a villain to my wife, who just gets the reactions.
Pause there for a second. Let your body just be with that for a second. Just pause and pull back. Take some space for yourself right now. There's nowhere you need to be. There's nothing you need to do.
feeling it in my throat right now.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart.
What does your throat and your heart need from you right now, Dice?
Compassion for myself. Understanding. And knowing that like it's okay for me to express. Yeah, just I don't want to punish myself.
Are you able to have a conversation with your body that maybe in the past punishing yourself helped you get to the places you need to? Or being vigilant with yourself?
Yeah.
Is there anything your body could hear right now in this moment to know that you don't have to communicate the way maybe you have in the past?
Yeah, it's all right to love myself and to acknowledge myself. It doesn't have to be wrong. I can accept the good things. I can accept when people reflect back at me and not deny that and believe my own story. And that I love who I am, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with accepting myself and loving who I am and just leaning into it. Like, I can be not afraid. I can extend the same compassion that I extend to others to myself and receive what other people bring to me and share it with me, not turn it away.
Yeah, nice deep breath. And all of you in the room, nice deep breath. All of you empathetic people that are like, I'll save Dice. Because here's the thing, Dice. When you start working for the Condor approach or anything in your life and you have the thought, I'm already behind, you start to pace, walking around, creating stories, dumping and verbalizing on your wife, not giving yourself grace, not allowing space for yourself. There isn't focus. You're not connecting with yourself. You have lots of thoughts. You're not present. You're not doing your practices. You're not breathing. You're not reading. You're not... I don't know what that word was supposed to be. That one says not writing, not taking space. But those are the strategies that keep you in the old way. That's going to keep you locked in. That thought, I'm already behind, is what brings the agitation. And that will forever give you the result of being behind. And so when I'm first looking to shift very deep strategies in my life, I don't flip to the binary of, I'm always on time. I simply add and. I'm already behind, and I'm totally not. I'm already behind, and I believe in divine timing. When I'm first, I call it bridging, because we are still conditioned and trained to binary flip, But the opposite is not better. The opposite is usually not true. And so we don't need this to not be existing, but when you start seeing you're doing all of this, it's that thought driving all these actions, and you're feeling agitated. If this is how we get there in the not, all you have to do is start writing. Start taking space.
Thank you. I'm feeling that agitation in my heart. Like I'm feeling my heart pump so much. And it was actually after the first Condor approach that I realized that's how I lived my whole life. So I think for myself, everything is happening in the time that it needs to happen. I'm right where I need to be. And it's okay if things aren't perfect all the time. I know that's okay. I don't see that in other people. I don't judge other people. I'm turning that into myself, and it's not working. It's not working. It's making me feel agitated. It's making me feel not enough.
Are you open to something I'm not going to tell you, so you don't even know if it's consent?
Absolutely.
Perfect. You know when someone says, can we do something, but you don't know what it is? So you're like, how can I possibly consent? I want you to just glance around the room, and anyone where Dice has played a role in your life, in your experience, in being supportive, in doing things perfectly in your model of the world, just give me a hands up if Dice has made an impact on you in some way. And keep your hands up if you think that Dice is doing an incredible, amazing, stupendous job in what he's doing. So I've got one more, but I want you to take a couple breaths because we're going to stretch your energy body. Yeah, it's good. Like legit, you might be a little bit sore. Don't be scared, everyone else. Don't worry about this yet. We talk about the body's only ever in the moment of now, and you can't push a body too quickly, even in receiving love. Love is a muscle too, y'all. And a lot of times, oh, that's a cat. I'm like, is that one of my dogs? When it comes to giving love, unconditional love, you can literally crack somebody open beyond them being able to function by loving them too much. Trauma is from too much or not enough. It's not just what happens, it's what doesn't happen. So even with love, love can be horrifying. And so we're going to send love to Dice, and I'm going to show you a super simple exercise. If you place your hands at your heart, we're doing Care Bear style a little bit. But we're going to send it with ease and with grace, not a Hadouken. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just going to chill. We're doing a little more Care Bear stare than Hadouken, okay?
Thank you for that, because I'm a Street Fighter player. So.
Exactly. No roundhouse kicks of chakra energy, okay? So just at the heart, we're going to rub our hands together nice and soft. And on the count of 3, we're going to send with ease and grace your intentions and your love and support for Dice. Inhale in. 3, 2, 1. And just send your love and gratitude. And just receive that, Dice. Let your body feel what acceptance and appreciation and love and kindness. Just breathe it in for a second. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love each and every one of you. And the ones I just met today. I
Welcome
can't wait
to the
to know
Condor
you
approach.
more. Thank you so much, Kole.
Thank you. Give it up for Dice, y'all. Nice job, baby. Did you like that? Hadouken! Heal! Huh.
So can you guys see how this state assessment, look at all that came up, but here's the thing where it gets tricky. You have to only focus on this thought. He brought up lots of other things, but that's when you end up drowning in somebody's life because they go, and this, and, then they go into overwhelm.
Hey fam, so you already know about the Condor approach, but did you know that every Monday we're doing something called Masterclass Mondays? It's totally free. This is to dive deeper into the parts of the psychedelic experience that nobody talks about. We're going to talk about why breakthroughs don't last, why breakdowns don't end. Every Monday we're going live with one goal in mind: to take big topics and turn them into actionable steps. So whether you're exploring psychedelics for healing or optimization, whether it's for personal growth, or you're just trying to navigate the complexities of being a human, we've got you covered. Go to masterclassmondays with an S.com. It's totally free to sign up, and we'll see you live. Peace.
Integration is not optional.